The protocol will be, I'll call you up by name, introduce you. You'll be able to come up and give a 3-minute speech. At the end, or by 30 seconds, I want to recognize Ann Burmeister. She'll hold up a 30-second sign that means wrap it up. At the end of 3 minutes, she will stand, and then your time is complete. Then the other person will get to speak. At the end of each group, we'll have a 4 to 5 minute time for questions, and give each candidate a chance to answer questions if it's directed to a specific person. We would like to start with State Representative District 72. Would Shannon Thomason please join us? Be our first speaker.
Oh, okay. I don't want to end up on the other side of the table. Hi, everybody. My name is Shannon Thomason. I'm from Big Spring. I am challenging Mr. Darby for the Texas House Texas House of Representatives, District 72 race. Give you a little bit of background on me. I currently live in Big Spring. I was raised in the Brownfield area. I'm a West Texas farm boy. In the senior year of high school, I needed a job. I took one at the local airport, pumping gas in airplanes, and ended up loving it and staying in the business for the next 29 years come April. I'm a 6th generation Texan. My great-great-great-grandfather was a circuit riding Methodist preacher who came here during the time of the Republic, and I am proud to attempt to represent West Texas values in the Texas House of Representatives. I am a Tea Party member. That means I support low taxes, small government, and sensible spending. I think that we definitely need some new direction in the Texas House. There are a lot of issues that are, quite frankly, aren't state government issues. We got money going out. There really doesn't need to be going out. And I think that our tax system really needs to be readdressed. And in that vein, I'd like to let you all know that I am in support of, as is the Republican Party of Texas, doing away with property taxes in the state of Texas and replacing it with a consumption or sales tax. I believe that's a much more fair system, and ultimately it would be revenue neutral and would let people actually own their own homes for a change instead of renting from the state and from local taxing entities. With regards to state spending, we need certain things here in West Texas. We need good water. We need good roads. We need our children to receive a good education. Unfortunately, there's a lot of money that is not going to those things. A prime example, the legislature just raised the amount that is dedicated to the Texas Film Commission incentive program. That's tens of millions of dollars that can go towards roads. There are, I've just got the 30-second deal, so I'll wrap this up real quick. I firmly believe that Texas is the greatest economy in the United States and probably the world for one very simple reason: business people. The legislature doesn't do that. The governor doesn't do that. You do that. What we need to do is keep Texas very low taxation, very low regulation, and make it much more attractive for businesses to come here. Thank you.
Thank you. It's good to be with you. I've been your state representative for 8 years. It's not on-the-job training. I've got the training. This election has consequences as you go through all these candidates. Keep in mind that there are issues facing Texas that we need sound, considered, wise judgment. And so as you look at each one of these candidates, I think you need to keep in perspective who has been trained, who has prepared themselves for the job that they're seeking. Not just because they want to do it. It sounds like a good thing to do, but who's prepared their lives for that? I've been a businessman. I've paid taxes. I have employed people, still do today. I have been a practicing attorney for nearly 40 years. I have been active in the community. I have been the chairman of the Water Advisory Board, making decisions for the water future of Texas. In fact, the decision that we made in 1999 was to go ahead and lay this pipeline to the Hickory Aquifer, but for the grace of God, we're going to have to be using that pipeline in the next year for our basic water needs here in San Angelo. I have served on the Economic Development Corporation. I've served on the San Angelo City Council. I've been your state representative since 2006. I have assumed leadership position in the Texas House. I make decisions every day affecting the four basic issues that I believe Texas believes are the most critically important to our state. And one is education. One is water. Another is roads. And another is good jobs. I too believe in low taxation. But also, I'm a realist and know that if you have and want and need state services, you have to pay for those. I believe that users ought to pay for those fees, and that the fee for a service ought to be collected by the people who use that service, and not just a general taxation. We don't have general taxes in Texas. There's only two ways we raise revenue in Texas. One is a sales tax, and another are severance taxes because of our wonderful and bountiful oil and gas industry. So my job on the Appropriations Committee is to make sure we provide those services. We have limited government. We have to balance our budget. We can't spend more than we bring in. And we have needs throughout this state. We have children moving to this state. You heard the figures, 1,000 people a day moving to Texas. Well, guess what? They're not bringing their water with them. They're not bringing their roads with them. They're not bringing their school buildings with them. They're not bringing their teachers with them. But they expect those services here. And my job is to make sure that those services are available. Now, again, this is about who's prepared for the job. Not just what they'd like to be in this position, but who's prepared their life. Look at the candidates and find out and say to yourself, who has prepared themselves to assume the responsibility of this office, whether it be state representative or justice of the peace? Who has prepared their lives to assume the responsibility? Thank you for allowing me to be a part of it. I want to recognize my lovely wife, Clarissa, here, and my district director, Chair Cordova. Look forward to your questions. Do you want to do that now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we'll ask Shannon to come join through here at the podium. Any questions from the floor? Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to know what both of them, what their position is on Common Core.
I'm sorry?
Common Core.
Are you talking about Common Core curriculum in our
Yes.
schools?
Yes.
Well, I mean, I believe that our schools ought to teach Common Core values, reading, writing, arithmetic. Those ought to be what our public schools are all about. We have been distracted from that. We've gotten away from that. We've gotten to the point where we were testing way too much, 15 standardized tests for our public schools, and the kiddos were being taught simply how to address the test and not receiving core knowledge. And so I am supportive, and I voted for and helped support HB 5, which reduced the number of standardized tests from 15 down to 5. We created endorsement programs so kiddos can learn a trade or skill in high school that will serve them well out in the economy. But Common Core, absolutely, we need to make sure our kiddos are focused on learning the essential knowledge for education so that they can be prepared to enter the workforce.
Just to clarify, you are referring to Common Core curriculum as put forward by the Federal Education Agency? No. Number one, it's already illegal in Texas. It's already been outlawed. And any attempts by national organizations to try to sneak it in through systems like C-SCOPE, I will absolutely stand against.
Thank you. Are there any other questions?
for business an opportunity to be quiet.
Absolutely. They made it easy on us.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
The trees attack the tree.
It's dangerous on that side of the table. The next group we'd like to hear from is the county judge. I'd like to call up Judge Steve Floyd first.
Good evening, thank you. I am Steve Floyd. I am serving as the county judge and have been since December 1st. From the retirement of Mike Brown, the Commissioner's Court was honored me by appointing me as county judge. I'm a native of Tom Green County, the third of 5 generations that are here. My wife, Lucina, is with me tonight. I was primarily raised in the northern part of the county out in Great Creek. My father was basically an uneducated man that moved into the development and construction business in the mid-60s. My mother was a working mom. She went to work for Central National Bank and was proud that she became the first female officer that Central Bank had ever named in the mid-60s. But they did instill in me my Christian faith, being part of the community, and I guess my servant's heart. And that's primarily what county government is involved about. There's a number of elected officials here that may have to go through the political process, but once they get there, it's a servant's heart. Our mission is to carry out what the state mandates us to do. We're nothing more than an agent of the state. Drew Darby's done a great job about restoring and giving us the tools to do that. I spent 13 years of that as a justice of the peace. 8 or 9 years of those, I was honored to be on the training staff and taught judges and court personnel around the state. Got the honor to attend the National Judicial College for 8 weeks and actually spent 2 of those weeks on their staff as a facilitator. And I say that because 40% of what the county judge's function is in this county is judicial. It has to do with guardianship, probate, mental health, things that are very important to this community, and it's real issues with real people. The rest of the time is spent in administration. I have a background, obviously, being raised in the development and construction business. That gives me a business perspective. I am invested in this community. I employ people in this community outside of the realm of government influence, so I have an understanding and a perspective of what we do, our taxation, our policies, how it affects the business world here. Also, public safety comprises it's the largest mission we have. That encompasses the judges, law enforcement, jail, community supervision, fire protection, a whole host of issues. It's our largest budget driver. It is made up of a number of elected officials that you elect that are part of the program. It cannot operate with one elected official, someone that needs to have the respect and the leadership ability to get all of those departments working for us to accomplish our mission. And I think my background allows me to be uniquely positioned to be a county judge because it is a unique position. I believe my stewardship heart instilled in me by my parents uniquely qualifies me. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you.
Thank you, Mr. Floyd. I'd like to call up Richard Easingwood. Easingwood. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Richard Easingwood and I'm running for Tom Green County Judge. I'd like to tag in just a little bit to what our Representative Darby said about qualifications for the position that he's holding, and I'd also like to mention the qualifications for the position that I hold, or I'm going to hold, as your next county judge. I think it's very important that you look for some of those things in an individual. I think it's very important. I have some material that I'll leave here. It's a bio sheet on me. Actually, it's what it is, about the last 30 years of my life and where I've been and what I've been involved with here in San Angelo, Texas, and how it has to do with things like county government, water, and education. I believe that I'm the best qualified for this position because of those things. As a county commissioner for 12 years, I sat and watched over 12 budgets. The Commissioner's Court is very unique in that we get to participate with the county judge and the county auditor as they establish the budget for the county. One thing I've been a little disappointed about, though, is the fact that we haven't been able to lower your taxes. No comments? It's the thing that goes like this. Well, we didn't raise your taxes, that was your house that raised your taxes because your house appreciated in value. Well, I'll go back and like I said, we have not lowered your taxes. The city of San Angelo lowered taxes and at least made a good faith effort at it about 2 years ago, I believe. Mr. Norman, something. And one of the things that the county had been doing is just keeping the tax rate at the same level and not lowering taxes. I find that a little disheartening. I think there's some things that should and could be done. Have a plan and a program that would be able to help them do that for you. My opponent has said that in some of his literature that he's going to, raise the business, lower your taxes by increasing the business base. Well, you are the ones, the business owners are going to be the ones that increase our tax, that part of it. The county government, we won't have anything to do with that. What you want to hold us accountable to is what we tax you on. That's what you want to hold us accountable to. As a county judge, there's different things in different parts. As my opponent said, you're dealing with probate. I know about that. There's a book called the Judge's Bench Book that has an actual script that you go by. This is a position that is not required to have a law degree, but all you have to do is be able to know and understand the law. I know and understand the law, but like I said, check the credentials on your candidates, check them on all of your candidates, because voting is very important, but getting qualified individuals is the most important. Thank you very much.
We'll ask Judge Floyd to come back up and ask for questions from the floor. We have a quiet room.
Can we ask each other questions?
No question.
Okay.
Well, either that's an indication that either we told you exactly everything you wanted to know, or you really don't want to know. I don't know which one it was.
Are they hungry?
Are they hungry? Well, thank you both. The next group we have is the county clerk. So I would ask Janet McIntyre to please join me.
Hello, everybody. I'm Janet McIntyre. I'm running for the office of county clerk. I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I was born here in San Angelo, lived here most of my life. My husband and I have been married almost 37 years. We have 5 children and 7 grandchildren. They're the light of our life. I decided to run for county clerk because I wanted to give the voters a choice. I have 16 years experience in the Justice of the Peace Office in Precinct 4, with both criminal and civil case management experience, along with the mental health case filings. This has given me the vast experience to qualify me for this office. I have over 200 hours training with the Justice Court Training Center. I'm a Level 2 Certified Master Justice Court Clerk. My desire is to see others learn all that they can, thereby ensuring the public that they're dealing with competent professional office staff. The definition of a good leader is someone who gets results out of people in a consistent and measurable way. 2 clerks who've worked under me have gone on to be chief clerks in other JP offices. The 2 clerks working under me now both achieved Level 1 certification, with one going on to receive Level 2. I have a passion for encouraging others around me. Whether it's assisting the public with their needs or helping an employee realize their full potential. I have an excitement for learning and passing that on to others. It's about being able to make a difference. I think I can bring new ideas while embracing ongoing upgrades in technology. I believe I represent an excellent combination of work experience and the desire it serves to serve that it takes to be a successful county clerk. Integrity is most important to ensure the public that their county court records, vital statistic records, and real property records are kept in an accurate, professional, and orderly way to protect and preserve the history of our county for our future. Accuracy means quarterly audits yield positive results. If elected, I'll take this office to a higher level of professionalism. I have the respect of my peers. Respect is not earned by your job title, but rather it's earned by the way you conduct yourself and your treatment of others. I have the right temperament and foresight to head an office of this size and best serve the citizens of Tom Green County. At our JP office, we've been accepting e-file cases since 2009, one of the very few JPs at that time to do that. I have experience implementing changes from the legislature every 2 years, doing the necessary research to ensure proper court costs are collected and the statutorily required verbiage is updated on our forms. If you want someone new in the office of county clerk, vote for me. I have the experience, the knowledge, and the skills it takes to be your next county clerk.
Thank you, Ms. McIntyre. Thank you. Okay, sorry. Next, I'll ask up Terry Mobley.
Yep.
I was thinking he was going in this order, so I was.
It was supposed to have done that, but we don't know what happened.
We never know what happened. My name's Terry Mobley. I'm a candidate for the county clerk. A lot has been said about experience to perform the duties of the job. A little bit about my background. I have over 30 years of management experience in various organizations. I've managed operations with as many as 300 employees. I presently, for the last 10 years, have served as the HR director for Tom Green County. That is not an elected official position. That is a hired hand. I was hired by a commissioner's court. I've heard throughout my career in the last years we're talking about, and certainly the Republicans talk about, smaller government, lowering taxes, saving tax dollars. As HR director, I don't have authority over the budget process. But in the 10 years that I've been HR director for Tom Green County, we have reduced our staff by a third. For the last 6 to 7 years, that has saved taxpayers $40,000 to $50,000 a year when you include salaries and benefits. I don't talk about downsizing government, I do it. In the last 5 years, we took over Health Benefits Administration. Prior to that, it was under an elected official, and the court contracted those duties out to a third party. The last year that we did, I think our budget for that contract, for them to administer that, was $25,000 or $27,000. You'll have to talk to the auditor to be sure on that. I went to Commissioner's Court and said, why are we doing that? I said, our office can take on those responsibilities. That's what you hired me for. That's what we do. So the court agreed, and for the last 5 years, we have not paid that $27,000 to $30,000 a year administrative fees to a third party to administer our health benefits. I don't have anything to do with the budget. But when I came to work for the county, I searched statutes, guidelines, constitutions, and nowhere could I find that as an employee of Tom Green County, I would be exempt from paying taxes. And since I'm not exempt from paying taxes, I'm going to do everything I can to save tax dollars. One more example of what we do. Commissioner's Court in 2005 came to us and said we need to redo our classification compensation program. You'll remember a couple of years ago, the city of San Angelo did the same thing, and they paid a firm $160,000 to do that. We did it in-house because I had staff that were qualified to do the job. We made a few people mad, made some happy. That's what classification compensation does. But we did not cost the taxpayers money going out to a third party to do that work. I appreciate your support. Thank you.
Next, I'll ask up Miss Elizabeth McGill.
As Drew was saying earlier, you need to look at the person that's probably the most qualified. And I have worked in the county and, well, worked in the county and district clerk's office for 9 years. And then I moved to San Angelo and I worked continuously since 1989 in the county clerk's office. I've worked in every section of the office with the exception of the probate section, but I did work at the probate section in Concho County, so. But laws have changed, laws are getting more and more diverse or restrictive, not diverse, restrictive. And so we're having to follow them a lot more closely. Terry was talking about lowering tax dollars, etc. In 2005, we put in a new system for our electronic to do the scanning and everything in the real estate. As a result, we cut out having to print books. We've cut out printing books and vital statistics. It's all done on the computer, but in conjunction with the state library requirements, all of our systems have to be reviewed every 5 years to make sure we haven't lost any data. That happened on the state level. They lost some data that couldn't be recovered. So we upgrade on a continual basis. We have just upgraded to a new real estate and vital statistics system. It's going very smoothly. You can access most of your records online, not birth and death, but all of your court records are online, all of your real estate records are online. Your plats for all the subdivisions are being uploaded currently. We've had them scanned in for several years, but we went through to make sure there were no glitches anywhere. And so those are in the process of being uploaded. We will be going totally electronic filing in January of 2015, which will save an additional amount of money. We have cut our budget by 47% since I took office. We are the only office that pays part of our employees' salaries. We pay 15% of our employees' salary out of a dedicated fund that comes in from the recording process. And that was something that the state has allowed us to do. I ask for your support and your vote on March 4th. I'm Elizabeth McGill, your county clerk. Thank you.
Are there any questions from the floor? Would all three like to come back and join me at the podium?
I have one question.
Okay.
When you said you had reduced your staff, how did you go about reducing staff? Was it due to retirement, jobs being combined? How did you do that?
What we did is, what Liz is talking about, we automated some things, and usually a lot of people buy computer programs. And I'm one of these. It costs a lot of money when you spend for computer programs. There ought to be a return on that investment. And if it automates things, there should be a system somewhere where you're saying, do I need people? We did not terminate anybody. When a person left, we chose. And I'm from the business world, okay? Anytime someone leaves a position, the first thing you ought to do is examine and see whether you even need that position before you fill it. But that's how we were able to. We did our application process online, got away complete with the paper. People said, you can't do that. People won't know how to guess what? We never have a shortage of applications, people learn. So we did away with that position because I got rid of a paper trail that I didn't need anymore. And that's where I look at those things, looking at positions. When my assistant director retired, I did not replace that job as an assistant director. We were top-heavy. So I brought in a personnel assistant, brought in another person, but at a lower level because we were top-heavy. Those are the things that I do to try to save tax dollars. Run an efficient operation. But that's how it came about, doing the stuff that Liz is talking about, automating, improving things. But if we're spending all this money on programs to automate things and make it better and put it online, my question is, why do we have all the employees still there?
Liz, I want to ask you the same question. Since you're talking about you're automating and doing a lot of things for your customers online and through the internet and things like that, how have you either moved people around, said, you know, this person's leaving, so we're not going to put that person back in a position? How have you done that also?
Well, first of all, let me say the programs, neither of the last two computer upgrades that we did came out of taxpayer dollars. Those were out of dedicated funds that we've accumulated from the Records Archive and Record Preservation money that is dedicated specifically to doing upgrades, and the state has required that we go back and save all the historic documents, restore them. If they're brittle or in bad shape, you've got to restore them back. And so we've also used those dedicated funds for that. And in answer to your question about the employees, we've reallocated duties. If they have a downtime from their core job duty, then they go back and do back indexing and back scanning to preserve records further back. And we've also restored some of our oldest books, the ones that are done, that are handwritten books, have to be preserved, and we've used those funds to do that. We can't do a whole lot at a time because we have to let that money accumulate and build up, and as it does, that's what we utilize to do these preservation matters with, not tax dollars.
So Janet, what would you do if you were in that position where you were
First thing
upgrading?
I would do is, if I was to take office, I would have all the department heads write me a list of their job duties. And I would evaluate their job duties and see, and then I would watch and see if that's actually what they are doing, and see what needs to be changed around, switched around to make the office more efficient. And as far as going with the e-filing in 2015, that state mandated that all county offices, a population of what Tom Green County is, are mandated to go with e-filing in January 2015. So technology changes don't scare me off. Usually it benefits us. We went through a rough transition in software with the county in 2010, and we made it through it, and you know, the software is working now to the most part, and we are benefiting from it. But those changes are hard to go through, but we did it.
Mr. Mobley,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to start with you. Most people don't understand what the county clerk's office actually does, what the county clerk is responsible for, what she does. Can you explain a little bit of what that job responsibility is?
I look at it in a different way. The actual duties are performed by the employees, and then, of course, the leadership of the county clerk. They handle the civil probates. They handle criminal records for the county at law, court at law, county court at law. Responsible for the records of commissioner's court. Those records, they handle vital statistics such as birth certificates, death certificates, doing business as registrations. They handle the real estate, all the deeds, and they have to be recorded. All of those records have to be done. I look at the county clerk in a different standpoint because I think it is a position of administration. And as a county clerk, the job of administration is making sure you hire good people, that you train them well, and then you hold them accountable. And that's the duties that I see as a county clerk. You have to have knowledge of everything that goes on there, but you also have to make sure that your people that carry out the day-to-day operations, the county clerk does not, maybe in a bind or something fills it up, but they don't do normally the day-to-day. They're administering that office, and that's what I bring to the table.
How about you, Jen? Are you familiar with what the county clerk's office actually does?
Sorry.
Jenny, are you familiar with what the county clerk's office
Yes,
does?
there's a manual online with the Texas District and Counties Association, and I've been reading that manual. I'm very familiar with it. A lot of it is similar to what we do in the justice offices. It's mainly an office of recording. We keep the records for the Commissioner's Court, the County Court of Law, the birth certificates, death reports, and real property records. It's all about filing records and making sure they're filed correctly. And therefore, the public is available for the public inspection when they need it.
Is there anything you'd like to add to that, Elizabeth?
I'm sorry?
Liz, would you like to add anything to that?
They're pretty much on. Our office, with the exception of maybe the tax assessor collector's office, we probably deal with more one-on-one public than any other office in the county. The district clerk also handles quite a few one-on-one, but we deal with everything, and at some point in time, the office of county clerk touches everyone, from the birth to the death and everything in between, marriage, military. Sherry gets to handle the divorces, I just get clearing.
We undo everything she does.
But, they're right, but the bottom line is, if you don't know how to do that stuff and you don't know what the office is, you're ultimately responsible. And if you have a staff member who makes a bad choice and you're not asked, or if you make a bad choice after that clerk asks you, you're ultimately responsible, and it can cost you your job.
Thank you.
Okay. County Commissioner Precinct 3, I'd like to ask Rick Bacon to come and join us.
Good evening, and I want to thank everyone for giving us the opportunity to come out and speak. I am Rick Bacon, and I am the current County Commissioner for Precinct 3. My background is basically, I've been married for 42 years to my wife Glenda, who's here tonight. I have 2 children, a boy and a girl, 4 grandchildren, and 1 great-grandson, and we're going to get to see him hopefully in a few weeks out in Tucson, Arizona. Military career, I was 21 years in the Air Force, started out enlisted, worked my degree while I was on active duty, switched over, got my commission, retired after 21 years to rank of major. Was fortunate enough when I retired, we decided to settle here in San Angelo. I was lucky enough to land a job with Great Creek ISD, and never dreamed that I would spend 21 and a half years with the school district, but it worked out great. I had a great experience working there. Recently retired from there in order to be your full-time commissioner for Precinct 3. Been a short couple of months for me, having to try to learn the position and then try to campaign. But it's been exciting. I feel like that when I received the call and was asked to do this, I wasn't really looking for it. It came as a very big surprise to me. I was very humbled and honored that I was considered for it. But I prayed about that, and I guess God knew that I wouldn't leave the school district unless He gave me something else to do. And so as I prayed about that, He reflected back on my experiences in my military career and what I'd done with the school district and said, this is what I've been preparing for you for this period in your life. So I took that step of faith, and here we are. Picked up real quick. I understand the position. We maintain the county budget. We go through that and take care of the county roads as far as the position. But the thing that I've enjoyed the most so far is being able to help the people in the precinct. And I've had several phone calls where we've come through. We just recently went through and we're finalizing a grant that Mr. Darby was able to get some money allocated out to the counties to help with roads that have been damaged through the oil industry. Also started working with a group out in Water Valley. Water is such an important issue. They're battling an injection well permit that they don't think is necessary. We're trying to help them with that. And then I'm also working on redesignating the floodplain over in the Green Acres area. I think that's a very important area, flood area that shouldn't even have been designated in the first place. But we've got a group that we think are going to be able to get this done. And so it's been busy. I've been busy, and I want you to know that I'm accessible and look forward to working for the voters in Precinct 3. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rick. City of Flores is the Democratic candidate and for Precinct 3, and she wasn't able to attend tonight, but I did want to announce her name. I'd like to ask Don Vardaman to come forward.
There's too many candidates up here. Us fat boys have elbow knees, and it's not working at my end of the table. I'm Don Vardaman. Glad to be here. Thank you for the invitation. I am a product of San Angelo, and I didn't mean anything about you, Don. I am a product of San Angelo, Bradford, Lakeview High School, ASU. Joined the fire marshal. That office was there for about 31 years, 8 months, 16 days, and 4 hours. I really loved that job. It was a great job. Served as your fire marshal for almost 5 years. When I got out of ASU, I thought I was through with my education. Then they sent me to school to become knowledgeable in the aspects of the fire marshal's office. I became a certified peace officer, firefighter, state instructor, arson investigator, and state inspector. Okay, I think that kind of puts a good copy on that. What I want to do now is talk to you about what I'd like to do. I want to unify the school district, the city, and the county as much as legally as possible, because we're all drawing money out of the same pocket. I just believe that economically, everybody needs copy paper. Everybody needs cars. If we can buy 40 reams of paper instead of 4 reams of paper, it should be cheaper. If we can join in and take baby steps on some of this stuff, I believe that we can save our taxpayers money. One of the things that we have accomplished this year is we dropped your city taxes. I was elected as city councilman. We have dropped your city taxes 1/2 cent. Where that came from was the increase in your house values, in your homes. So we were able to give you back 1/2 cent of that. The rest of it we spent on raises, and I'm very proud of that also. We took the bottom up. We had working poor within our city. I think we have that same thing within our county. I want to try to work toward getting the guys that are in the ditches at 2 o'clock in the morning repairing water lines. Uh-oh, I'm getting the icy stare from me. I want to get those people brought up as much as we can to a living wage. I have a whole bunch of stuff. I told one group that it took me 2 minutes to say Don Vardaman, so it's tough to get it down through. I appreciate your invitation. I am Don Vardaman, and I thank you a lot.
Don, you want to stay up here, and Rick, you want to come back? Are there any questions from the floor?
Yes, ma'am, I have one. I was asked by someone that couldn't make it tonight to ask this question. Don, because of the fact that's the Great Creek area that you're running for out there, and you're not really living in the Great Creek area now, is that legally able to do that?
Well, I live within the precinct. It's just like Rick lives at Great Creek. He's representing Pauline, the Bluffs, Rio Concho West,
Okay.
Buffalo Heights, all of that. So absolutely, as long as you're in the precinct, you're able to represent
So
those.
Pauline is part of that precinct then?
Yes, ma'am.
And the precinct's not that much, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
It's a big precinct.
Okay.
Are there any other questions from the floor? Okay, thank you. Next, we'll ask the candidates for the County Commissioner Precinct 4 to come forward. Bill Ford.
I really enjoy being here, and I thank you for the opportunity. I am Bill Ford, your Tom Green County Precinct 4 Commissioner, and I'm a native San Angeloan. I can cut to the quick and just say that here's my bio. I'm from here, raised here, experienced life here, and I continue to do so. I think what some of the questions and some of the things you want to know is what can the current commissioner do for the next 4 years, and a lot of it is to continue what I'm doing, and that's to treat the people in my precinct like I treat the people in the rest of the county, meet their needs. Now, we have some tax issues, we have some revenue issues. Those will be coming up in this summer, and I hope that we can do, as Mr. Easenwood said, and reduce taxes. That's going to be a budget issue that we'll deal with. The good thing about what's coming up in this county is that we have some difficult challenges. We have a lot of revenue that will be coming in because of increased business growth that comes in from this oil boom we see. But the downside is it's costly. It's real costly on my county roads and the rest of the county roads. It's real costly on the water that's being used. It's costly on the safety and security of our highways. I live in Cristobal, and I drive that every day. And I'm telling you folks, it ain't fun. Especially if in the morning, especially if it's icy. But now they got cones up on both sides, and it's this wide and it's scary. And people think the speed limit's 75, and I think it's 65, 60, 50. Slow down. We have nearly an accident every couple of weeks on that road, and some of them have been fatal. And I really am tired of it. They're having to redo the work on the road, so it's a mess. Now, my experience is I've served on West Texas Boys Ranch for 9 years. I've been a Boy Scout leader, assistant scoutmaster for 9 years. I was an Eagle Scout, my son was an Eagle Scout, and I served 3 years on the school board. I've been a deacon in a church and helped start a new church the last 3 years in Cristobal. I'm very involved in my faith. I'm very involved in my community. I spend a lot of time face to face with those that I live with out there, and we deal with the roads. I found out what a pothole is. I thought it was just a little, no, there's potholes that you can lose your vehicle in, and we fix those. Been able to replace over 2 miles of road on Knickerbocker, west of the Equalization Channel toward Knickerbocker. We're working on the 5 miles left. We're working on the streets. I'm telling you folks, every street in Cristobal is a county road. They have not been anything more than patched since the 50s. I replaced 2 streets in Cristobal. We're working on the 3rd, and we're going to have, hopefully I'll get 4 or 5 more done by the end of the summer. And we're doing, Dove Creek's getting a lot of repaired. We're working on that now. And we got this, finally getting this boat ramp project done in Pew Park. It's been on the books since '07. Finally going to get to spend this money. It's going out for bid shortly, and we'll be able to renovate some of the park and get some things done. I'm excited about what I do. I'm good at it. I'm trained. I've had over 30 hours, in fact 39 hours of training in state certified training to do this job. I was appointed
I was appointed for a reason, because Judge Brown thought I could do the job, and I'm doing it. And I don't have a problem with any task that's taken that's been leveled ahead of me, and I have a real excitement about what's coming. I am experienced, I know how to deal with people, and I know how to get the job done. And I really ask for your vote. Please get out and vote. But if you live in my precinct, Precinct 4, keep me. Bill Ford. Thank you. I'm over here. Welcome. Do the questions, but we're not there yet.
Thank you, Bill. Next, I'd like to ask to join us Kenny McCray.
Hello, I'm Kenny McCray, and I'm running for County Commissioner Precinct 4. My wife, Gina, is here with me, supporting me, which is great to see. I like to have a friendly face looking at me when I have to do this. This is so much fun. But I was born and raised here in San Angelo, and spent my whole life here, graduated, went to the public schools, graduated from Angelo State University in 1984, and went to work in a Fortune 500 company, did that for a number of years, worked my way into management, managed a very large business, a very large budget, a lot of people, worked in San Angelo area, Dallas, Midland, Odessa, Houston, New York, Chicago, Schaumburg, Illinois, but I'm always based out of San Angelo. I didn't have to live those places, I did get to work those places, which I think gives me a lot of insight to business. I am a businessman. I own businesses here in San Angelo. I'm an active rancher, and I have a wildlife management company and an outfitting business. And I understand what it takes to run a business. And frankly, I'm sick and tired of big government. I'm not saying that's what Tom Green County is, but I'm sick and tired of big government. I'm sick and tired of politicians making decisions for us as taxpayers. And I think the best way to run any government is to have business people running it. Because frankly, business people know what it takes to make money and to spend less money than you make if you want to grow, if you want to be profitable. And that's what I bring to the table. I have not been a county commissioner. I did run for this position 4 years ago and made a pretty good showing. I was first runner-up. But I learned a lot through that process. While I was doing that, I studied a lot. I went to the meetings. I looked a lot, read online, looked at the budget situation and how things were allocated. And that's very important. And that's something that I will bring to the table. Another thing that I'll bring to the table that hasn't been done in this precinct or any precinct for any time in the recent past, I've committed to the people in my precinct as I visit with them that things are going to change. We're going to start going and sitting down as a commissioners meeting. That I'm there for that sole purpose, is to meet with those people and do it on a regular basis. Initially, as I start this new job, I'll be doing it once a month. And then I think that can be phased out to once a quarter or so and deal with the issues, hopefully heading issues off before they become a problem and people get upset and then it becomes a fire. And we're stomping out fires instead of solving issues. We're going and only handling the worst situation. And I think that's something that all of us can do. I think as the commissioners that are there now and the ones that will be there in the future, I think they're open to that. And I think it's a good way for us to hear what the taxpayer has to say. And that's a big issue for me. I want those people to know I'm there for them. I'm going to go to their home in the evening and listen to them. I live in San Angelo. I live in Santa Rita, which is a large part of my precinct. And around the college, around Central High School, southwest, west of Southwest, Dove Creek, Knickerbocker, and Cristobal. And so that's one of the big things that I want to do. I want to bring what the people's issues are before it becomes a problem and present it to the Commissioner's Court. Again, I'm Kenny McCray, and I'm running for Precinct 4 County Commissioner, and I appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Okay, I'll just let y'all stand at your places. Do we have any questions from the floor?
Why was it took so long for any roads to be repaired in Cristobal?
Pardon me?
Why did it take so long for any roads to be repaired and to be new roads in Cristobal?
That's a good question. You have to talk to the commissioners who preceded you. But
Wow,
I do
that's
know
amazing.
that, the patching and repair was going on. That was just maintenance. But, I've lived down there over 12 years, and it's kind of like, we're there, but we're not. And it's really been I felt like a stepchild to the town or something. But, that was one of the things I really wanted to see happen when my predecessor left, was somebody from our area be on the county commission to represent Chris Stovall. And I was surprised to get appointed, really was. I didn't ask for it. But I will tell you this, that I'm real thankful, because now I do answer those questions and we're getting it done. And the people are thrilled that we're paving their street. When we got through with McKee Lane, those people were, there was a sign, somebody put up a sign right after I got appointed, and it's a metal sign that says, "For street maintenance, call." And it's got my cell number on it. I didn't do it. I didn't want to do it, but it has not been a problem. And because of that, and we've had town meetings down there, but when we do it, that we address those issues. And we address issues like school crossings and things that we don't have control over. Water, I don't have control over water. We got water masters who deal with that, and the state's issue there. But we watch it, we pay attention to it. And believe me, down there in the county, in the precinct, I hear about it. If it ain't right, they're gonna call me. They got the sign on the post.
And part of that reason also is budgeting. You know, we've got a limited budget, and you can only spend so much money. Some of those issues have been addressed in the past, but there again, I'll reiterate the importance of sitting down with those people on a regular basis, hearing about those problems. I've been pushing that for nearly 5 years now, and it has not happened. We would solve some of those issues if we're out there face to face with those people, looking at what those issues are and figuring out the best way to deal with those, prioritize them, then attacking them, which now is starting to happen, which I commend our county for doing.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Are there any other questions? All right, I'm sorry I skipped around. We'll go back to the county treasurer candidates. I'd like to ask Leland. Leland? Okay, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Believe me, that's not the first time that's happened. Good evening. My name is Lolly McClellan-Thee, and I'm running for the office of County Treasurer. The county officers and duties across county lines are pretty consistent, and the office of the treasurer is responsible to receive and deposit money, to reconcile bank statements, to work closely with the auditor paying county obligations, and to bring before the commissioners various accounting reports monthly, and also to work to serve as investment officer under the guidance and direction of the investment committee. I do believe in term limits, though I believe that they should be imposed by voters and not by some law on the books. So the incumbent has been in office for 15 years, and I would like to see a change. I'm concerned about the area of the government, the growth of government in this area, and perhaps a sense of complacency in this area. It's true that the treasurer's office is now taking over some new capacities, indigent health care and compliance, court compliance. All these duties existed prior to, since these offices have been folded in under the treasurer's responsibility, the staff of all three offices has grown dramatically. So I just question if that's in the best interest of our county. I have over 32 years experience in the private sector and business. I've handled all aspects of accounting and staff management. I would go into this office with a fresh perspective, with new eyes, and I would look at areas for improvement. I would do an analysis, and I would look at areas, I would look for areas of redundancy, for overlapping of job function, for things that didn't move as smoothly as they should have, for streamlining purposes. I would look at things that perhaps weren't a logical fit for the mission of this office. And I would do all this with the goal being to improve the efficiency of this office and benefit county government as a whole. I'm a taxpayer. And as a taxpayer, I want my government as lean and as efficient as possible. And I believe that's what taxpayers deserve. And I believe that taxpayers should expect that from their elected servants. Again, my name is Lyle-Ann McClellan-Thee, and I would appreciate your consideration for me as Tom Green County Treasurer. Thank you.
hear from Diana Speaker.
Let me move my large body past Dawn. I'm Diana Speaker, and I'm your county treasurer. I have been your county treasurer. This is my 4th term. I have to say that this is one of those jobs that I still get excited about going to work. I love the people that I work with. I have a great team, and that's what I call my employees that work for me, is they're part of a team, because I couldn't do all the great things that we do if it wasn't for the staff, because one person can't do it, cannot do it all. I will agree with my opponent that says that the office scope has expanded. I have had the honor of the Commissioner's Court allowing me to manage some of the offices that answered to them, so it would save you money, because then we didn't have to have department heads over those 2 offices that I've taken over. The Treasurer's Office, we do everything by statute. That's one thing that's kind of interesting about county government, is that we can only do what the statutes tell us that we can do. We can't make up our own rules. And so we can make up our procedures, but we can't make up our rules. My office has expanded. I now have 7 people in the Treasurer's Office. When I started working 26 years ago in county government, there were 3 people in the office. County government has grown. When we first started, we had a payroll of 200 people. We now have a payroll of over 900 people. And so, as an admin office, because we are your banker, we are the pencil pushers to make sure payroll's done, to make sure revenue's accounted for, make sure bills are accounted for. Our office is the last one to expand. And so, everybody in my office is cross-trained to try to keep up with all the workload. Most all of my offices, the indigent and the compliance office, they don't work overtime, but the Treasurer's Office, we do have to work overtime to meet our mandated deadlines. I'm excited about the opportunity to bring money into the county. We started the Tom Green County Partnership for Better Health. We've brought in over $300,000 from the state to help educate on preventable hospitalizations. We did that through our indigent health care program. It's just something that's very exciting to me, is the way that we can benefit our constituents. How do we take something and, because that's what we're supposed to do. I'm an Air Force brat, and my mother was Pauline Baptist Church Secretary, PTA mom. My brother is Captain Chaplain, and so it makes dinner table conversations quite interesting when you have me as the political being, and then you have my brother being the religious being. So that's okay, because as we were growing up, he was my little brother. He's 6'5", my little brother, and we were always kind of roughhousing with each other. Primary thing is, I would like your vote. I am your county treasurer. I work for you, and I would like to continue to work for you. And thank you, Ms. Ann.
Thank you, Diana. Are there any questions from the floor for the office of county treasurer?
What do each of you feel is the most important part of your job?
Well, of course, to deliver the best service, to oversee the staff, make sure that their jobs are done effectively and efficiently. And again, it goes back to being the most efficient office operation possible.
And I believe the most important aspect of my job is make sure I'm watching your pennies. Making sure that all the books are balanced, all they're reconciled. We've reconciled down to the penny every single month. Something that you may not know, because we deal with county government, and y'all know about the county budget, which is about $31 million. There's actually about $65 million that goes through my office in revenue and stuff when you start expanding it from the probation departments. The money comes in from the state, the court residential treatment centers. So there's a lot of money and funds that we have to take care of. There's about 200 different funding elements that we watch. So money, that's my primary focus.
Are there any other questions? Thank you. Thank you, ladies. Okay, and now Justice of the Peace Precinct 1. I'd like to ask Kay Longest.
I'm Kay Longest, and I am currently your Justice of the Peace in Precinct 1, and I am your Republican candidate for Justice of the Peace in Precinct 1 in the upcoming election. I've held this office for a little over 3 years, and I love my job. I absolutely think it's wonderful. My background is law enforcement. I've got over 30 plus years in law enforcement, retired from the police department, and I went to work for the county attorney's office, and I'm not even going to say. Anyway, I went to work for the county attorney's office as an investigator and was there for 14 years in the domestic violence unit. And that's a long, long time to work domestic violence, let me tell you. But the people elected me to run, or elected me for the Justice of the Peace, and I've enjoyed every second of it. And also, about 4.5 years ago, took on the responsibility of raising my great-grandson, so I keep quite busy. There's not a whole lot of downtime in my life. So I'm the Republican candidate for Justice of the Peace in Precinct 1, and I would ask for your vote. Well, I'm not going to have an opponent in March, so I want your vote in November. And I want all of them. So anyway, that's me. Anybody have any questions of me?
Yes, I have one question, Kate.
Okay.
I've been fascinated when talking to you about some of the responsibilities of the Justice of Peace that I didn't know. And there may be other people that don't realize what all you have to do either.
Oh my goodness. Well, it's the only job that I can tell you that you've got to follow the law for one thing. You can't stray away from what the penal code says or the Code of Criminal Procedure says. When you're holding hearings, you have to go by the book. You don't get the chance to say, oh man, I wish I could do that. One of the hardest things in this job is actually doing evictions because you're putting people out of their house. And you're taking their kids and putting them out of their house. But it's a job that, you know, the people that are evicting them are not getting their money. So it's pretty tough. The other thing that we do is we're on call 24/7, 8 days a week. And any calls that come in, we take. Except that Judge Howard, who's sitting back there, thinks he's on call when I'm on call because I ask him 50,000 questions. And he's always available to help me. But we do the deaths, we pronounce the deaths. We go out to accidents, I don't care what time of the day or night it is. My first day, very first day on call, the very first time, I got 4 deaths that day. One of them was a 9-month-old little girl that got killed. And that's tough. That's the toughest part of my job, is kids. I love kids. And when I see little babies laying there, it breaks my heart. So it's just, and we do warrants. We do arrest warrants. We sign search warrants. We do arraignments. We do all the arraignments of prisoners in jail. We magistrate all the prisoners, and we are the magistrate. We're not a medical examiner, but we are the ones that go out and do the pronouncements of fatalities. If someone dies in the hospital before they're there for 24 hours, we have to go. We get to perform marriages too. That's another thing. That's a good thing about my job. That's a happy part. So, yeah, that's. Any other questions?